In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the AI YouTube tools that you can use to get rich. And we're going to create a tier list of the best and the worst ones. All right, let's get into it. So the first one is going to be Upwork. And so this is a tool that has been around with YouTube automation for many years. It is a hiring platform. It is AI integrated. If you haven't used it in a while, you'll notice that. So let's just talk about the pros and cons, because this is how many videos are still getting created on YouTube as YouTube switches to more YouTube automation with AI. So let's talk about the pros and cons. So the first is that it's going to save you time hiring a team. It's going to also allow you to tap into skills that you potentially do not have. And it's also going to require you not to have to learn things like editing, script writing, voiceovers, etc. But the challenge is, it is really costly to be able to hire people these days, and it's way more costly than using AI tools, which is why as this video progresses, I'm actually going to show you the best tools that you need to be using for your channel. And as you can see too, high production times, you're giving someone work that they need to do. Sometimes they're not the most reliable. If you've ever hired someone on Upwork before to create your videos, it can be a challenge. And what you want to do though, if you're pursuing AI videos or just generally videos being created with freelancers, you want to make sure that you're vetting the work that they're doing. So I'm going to share with you exactly how, when I do end up hiring people on Upwork, how I make sure that I'm not getting AI content back that I can just make myself. So let's go through the process of doing this right here. All right. So what we want to do is going to be the following. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do some verification to make sure that the content you're getting back is created by humans. So I like to validate two things: the scripts themselves and then the voiceovers, because again, you wouldn't want to pay money for something and then just have it be AI. So how do we do this? So one of the tools that you can use to do this is ZeroGPT for scripts. So here what I have is an AI written script. And so I'm just going to highlight this out of 11 Labs, and then I'm going to paste it into ZeroGPT. And so with ZeroGPT, you're going to see that I'm going to hit detect text, and it's going to be able to tell me if the text is AI written or not. So you can see the majority of it is AI written. So this is telling me that your text is AI GPT generated. And so I wouldn't want to be paying for something that I think is human written that's actually not. So we want to avoid that. We're going to be talking about script writing later in this video using AI that's actually going to be much higher quality than what most freelancers will provide you anyways. So you're good to go. Right. So you can use that tool. It's absolutely free, ZeroGPT. Now, we want to also validate voiceovers. You don't want to be paying for a voiceover artist that's not actually a voiceover artist. So how do we verify? So the majority of voiceovers are coming through 11 Labs, whether that's 11 Labs, the tool itself, or tools that have the API to use 11 Labs voices. So how are we going to validate that you're not paying for a fake voiceover? So what we do is we are going to be able to go into 11 Labs, and then we go into the AI speech classifier. And what this allows us to do is drop in an AI voice, which is what I'm going to do. And it's going to basically analyze the voice. So if we go like this, let's say we have our text to speech here. I'm going to download the file. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the speech classifier, and I'm going to drop in the file. And so let's say you got back from a freelancer what the file is. You can just take that file and you can drop it into the classifier. And what it's going to do is it's going to analyze the file. So what it's doing is seeing, did this voiceover get created by 11 Labs or not? So very likely this was generated by 11 Labs. So again, this could basically flag if you're paying for nothing. So you're welcome so far. Upwork though, as a general tool for YouTube automation in 2026, C tier, again, if you have a particular niche that needs an editor, still probably the best way to go. But outside of that, it just slows down the process. Next, we have Subscriber. So Subscriber, the pros is that it's going to save you a ton of time creating scripts, and I'm going to walk you through how it works in a second. It's also going to lower your barriers to knowledge. So if you want to pursue a niche that you know nothing about, if you use Subscriber, it's going to do all the research for you. So you don't have to actually become a master at the topics that you're creating for your videos, which makes building an automated YouTube channel that much more tenable. And it's going to be able to actually make titles and thumbnails for you, but for this demonstration, we're just going to be focusing on the scripts. Now, it is a little bit more expensive than, let's say, just writing things with ChatGPT, but as you know in life, you get what you pay for, and it's much better to invest a little bit more into this tool to be able to get what you want. Now, let's talk about the actual process, because you may have not used this tool before, so I just want to walk you through how it works. So here I have Subscriber open. So it has a prompting system just like ChatGPT. So here what we can say is, write me a 20-minute script on how to start a faceless YouTube channel in 2026. Make the script compelling, targeting people with minimal time and experience and who want to use AI. Okay, perfect. Add jokes to make me sound funny. All right, perfect. Okay, so what we want to do at this point is we want to then enter in and get a script. So as you can see here, it's going to suggest us some titles. So here you have the 2-hour faceless channel, my YouTube blueprint, how to start a faceless channel with zero experience, why faceless channels are better than vlogs in 2026. So it's not only going to give you some other ideas for the titles, but it's also going to basically create the script for you. Now, a couple cool things, you can actually add in research. So you can add in links to other videos that you want to use as data. You can have it basically do AI research for you, but you don't need to do most of this stuff. And personally, I'll just be honest, I don't, just to speed up the process. So keep my, so I didn't actually feed it a title. So this is why. Let's just say this. Use this title and write the script. Perfect. Okay, so at this point, what you're going to be able to see is that it's going to now generate a script for us, 3,200 words, so roughly 20 minutes, and this is going to give us what we need. So we could say, looks good, and it's going to start the process. So what it does is it creates an open canvas, and it's going to give us an outline. So generate the outline. We want to make sure that the script is actually encapsulating everything that we want it to give us, because at the end of the day, the outline drives the script, which is going to partly drive the retention on the videos. So here we're going to talk about why faceless is going to be better than, let's say, being on screen all the time, especially if you're a busy professional. Then what you're going to need in terms of tools, so how you do your research, which ironically it's not telling us to use the tool that I'm using right here. And then it's going to talk about picking your niche and everything else that you need to know, which is obviously probably at this point, if you're this far into the video, something that you know you need to consider. So it's basically just giving you the full process, which in my personal opinion, just make sure that you're able to fact check whether or not you're going to get the script that you want. And you can make any edits to this. You can just highlight it. You can make edits within the actual outline itself, so on and so forth. So you're getting a really detailed outline just to make sure that you get what you want. So this is going to take a few seconds just to generate, but this is going to give you everything that you're going to need for your actual script. So at this point, let's let it auto generate all the way down, and then you have your call to action. Fantastic. Okay. So we have the outline now. So we can see, okay, we're comfortable with this. You can ask it to like move different sections around. I want section 4 after section 5, vice versa. You can go in and manually edit things like this. You can highlight it and go improve selection and go forward. Personally, again, as long as I think everything is okay, I like to go continue to scripting. So this is going to use some credits to create. I'm going to go generate script. and then we are going to generate the script for the video. So this is going to take a few seconds to go through. So again, what you want to do is just let it run, let it create the script, and go forward from there. So this is why I like creating scripts with this tool, is because it just makes the process really simple. And not only that, it actually informs where you can make improvements for your topic, your packaging, everything else like this. So we're already starting to see it generate the script right here. And so you may be thinking to yourself, Adam, why would I use this over like ChatGPT, over Claude, etc.? My reasoning behind it is that it is baked in the principles of YouTube. So this means that it knows how to create that really compelling hook, that really compelling intro, uses the value propositions within the actual structuring of the script. It understands you want to have a strong call to action and conclusion. A lot of the times with ChatGPT or Claude, it doesn't use the same framework, which means that you're not really getting a script that has the same feel that it needs to when it comes to building out a really proper script for YouTube specifically. It'll write, but it just won't give you exactly what you want. So here we're seeing things like this, right? Welcome to the Faceless Channel success story for 26. Right now you're thinking there that you want to build a real income, but you need to buy all this stuff, right? So you're highlighting the concerns of the prospective viewer. But here's the reality. You can actually build a faceless channel. They're automated and they're built with AI. You don't have to grind out years to make money. That model is completely dead. You can obviously start to build it much sooner. So what it's doing is it's understanding the key demographic viewer of your channel based on the context you provide it. So it knows who it's targeting. It's adding in the different elements like the jokes, everything else like this. And the main thing is it knows, like I said, who it's talking to, because if you make contextual information in the script that doesn't actually target who you want to watch your videos, they're going to be less intrigued, less likely to invest their time into the actual video itself. So now why it's the only smart play? Because you don't have a lot of time, which is something that I mentioned in the actual context, right? So if we scroll up here, people with minimal time, minimal experience. So again, I'm addressing what people's concerns could be because I'm trying to get people interested in actually approaching the business model. What tools are you going to need? Now you may be wondering, well, what tools do I need? I'm not a tech person. You're calling out their concerns. Again, this is something that we asked it to do, and this is what it's doing. Again, it's also calling out, first you need an ideation engine, not just ChatGPT, right? So it's calling out things like, oh, just use ChatGPT for everything. And it's telling people why they shouldn't do these different things. So you're really getting an in-depth script with this, and this is just about almost done generating. And so if you're running a faceless channel, you're going to be able to take this script and you're going to be able to then voice it over and use it in your video. Now, again, this could be a script that I could be following on a channel like this. I'm not, but in this case, I could be, right? So at this point, you're going to see that you're going to get roughly the amount of words that you ask for, which is about 20 minutes in this case. So that's usually about 3,000 to 3,500. Sometimes it does go a little bit over and gets a little excited, and you can always just ask it to then cut down the script to be an exact length, depending on what you truly need, right? But it wants to make sure that it writes out the script in a way that is going to target what you actually need for the video. So here it ends up being 23 minutes instead of 20. Fair enough. Great. So if you're not happy, you can ask it to regenerate. You get a few regenerations per script. So if you're really not happy, you're not stuck with it, you can make edits right here, like it's completely gone or over, and you've made an edit. Okay, so let's say you read through it, you're like, hey, this is fantastic. Again, I don't do too much fact checking on it, to be honest. I just kind of create the scripts. It does a good job. You just either copy it to clipboard, export it as Word, etc., etc. Now, let's just say that we wanted to use this script, right? All you do, download it, you move on to the next part of the process. You don't have to worry about, is this a good script for YouTube, etc., etc. So as you can see here, very effective tool. I think it's the best AI script writing tool on the market. I'm giving it an A tier. This is what a lot of high-level creators are using. If you want to be that high-level creator, you should be using it too. Now, let's talk about 11 Labs, right? It's going to save you time. You don't have to hire a voiceover artist. You don't have to voice yourself. You don't have to get a microphone like I have right here. You don't need any equipment, which is huge because, again, maybe you're strapped for space. You don't want to just have to buy all this stuff and crowd up your room. You can do voice cloning if you want to use your own voice. And there are thousands of voices in 11 Labs to use. Now, there are some cheaper alternatives than 11 Labs, but for $22 a month, you get quite a few generations. So let's talk about how you're going to use this. And I'm actually going to pull over the script we just made. So you're going to see the full part of the process. So typically what I like to do is either use text to speech, or you can use Studio to create the voiceover all in one. In this case, all you need to do is you just enter in a script. And then, so, for example, I could copy this in. I just happen to have something already in here. But let's just use, let's pull this in. So let's just use the intro just to give you an example of what it does. So we could just say, right now you're building this. So we have a voice, great. So let's just hear what it sounds like in a second.
Right now, you're probably sitting there thinking that to build a real income on YouTube, you need to set up a camera, buy fancy lights, and basically become a full-time video editor on top of your actual job. You think you need to show your face and be this charismatic personality, and the whole idea just feels like a second job you don't have time for.
So you see, the key to making this successful is not just having access to the tools. There's a quality filter that you personally need to have if you want to make this successful. So what do I mean by a quality filter? Well, what I mean is that in this case, I've actually identified a really high quality voice that has intonation, it can pronounce words correctly, etc. A lot of people, they pick these really low quality AI voices and they wonder why people don't want to actually watch their videos, is because they're not taking the proper time to set up their channel properly. So here you can see.
But here's the reality for 2026 that most people haven't caught on to yet.
It sounds good, high quality. You can download the actual file, and then you can use that for the next step of the process. 11 Labs is going to be a really good alternative. I'm going to show you one other alternative later on in this video, but 11 Labs truly is the gold standard for voiceovers in 2026 for faceless YouTube, which is why it's getting an A. All right, let's move on to the next one, vidIQ. You need to pick high quality topics for your videos. There's no way around it, okay? So it's going to be able to give you title suggestions, help you pick topics. Now, there are some limitations with the free plan, but again, like I talked about before, you get what you pay for. And if you're watching this video and you made it this far, I'm sure you can afford $20 a month. So how does this process work, right? So what you are going to do is you are going to go onto YouTube. So that's what we're going to do together right here. And let's just take this channel as an example. And what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to use vidIQ to come up with topics for your videos. So let's say this is a role model channel in your niche. What you're going to do to find topics is just hit the view trending videos button, and it's going to show you videos that are trending on this channel and in your niche. Typically what I like to do is pick topics that have views per hour of over 50 and then emulate those on the channel I'm building. So something like this or this or this or this. However, I also like to make sure that the video topics are over a week old, because if something's super new, the views per hour are obviously going to be high because the video just came out. We want topics that have staying power. So something like this or like this or like this, assuming the views per hour are over 50. Now, this is critical because all these other things that I'm showing you for writing the scripts, doing the voiceovers, doing the editing, it doesn't mean anything if you pick a bad topic. So this is why this is probably the most important tool to invest in. If you want to give it a try, you can use the link down below and get your first month for just $1 to test it out, see if you like it. It's an affiliate link, full disclosure, but give it a try. This is going to really help you start to get that traction on your channel, because you're not just wasting your money on topics that have no potential. So vidIQ, just based on the fact that it's super easy to use and it's going to be critical in your process, it's an A tier for sure. Now, moving on to VidRush. So we actually are going to get into our first tool for full video production. So VidRush is a tool right now that has kind of taken over the market because it is able to do the scripts, the voiceovers, the editing, create the thumbnail for you. And you don't have to do much at all. So if you're someone that's like, I want to do this whole YouTube thing, but I just don't know if I have the time, that's out the door. However, right now, it can really just make videos that are going to be third-party footage, stock footage, image-based. So it can't do animated videos, other different formats like that. And admittedly, it is going to be a little bit more expensive than most other tools because of what you get. But I want to walk you through what the actual process is, just to give you an idea of how simple it is. So let's say that we're using vidIQ. We've picked our topic. All you need to do is enter in the topic and some context. So like, here's what the video is about, here's how I want it to come out, etc. And it's going to take in that topic. You're going to pick your voiceover, again, something that relates to your actual video, to your niche. So you're talking about American cars, use an American voice. You're talking about Australian travel, use an Australian voice. You're going to pick your theme, so just generally what you want the videos to look like, and a background, which is simple. Again, you just click through. And then you're going to add in a reference thumbnail. So what do I mean by this? You can either just pick a thumbnail design based on what's working in your market or in your niche, or you can go on to, like, for example, a channel in your niche. You can copy the thumbnail link or the video link. You can drop it in and you can get the tool to create a design for you. And this is actually the exact process that my student Shahab has used to scale his channel to $7,000 per month. He works a job, he has a family. You can see this video on my channel already. But again, this is something that you can do with minimal time investment. So this tool is going to be an S tier. This tool just keeps getting better. I've been using it for quite a few months now. Monetize multiple channels with it, doing great. So again, these are the things that you want to think about to make your process as easy as possible. And if you're still here after 22 minutes and you haven't subscribed, you should probably do that right now. All right, a couple tools left. GenAI Pro. So this is going to be another voiceover tool. And so you're able to create high quality voiceovers, but at a fraction of the cost of 11 Labs. However, you can't voice clone. So there's a pro and a con. If you want to use out-of-the-box voiceovers for your faceless channel, this tool is really great. If you want to get way more creative and have access to all the tool suites that you have in 11 Labs, then you should just use 11 Labs. So what does the process look like? So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sign up for GenAI Pro. You can get a plan to get 1,000 credits, or 1,000,000 credits, for $22. And I'm going to share with you in a second the cost differential. So we're going to go to Labs. This allows you to create a voice. And so all you need to do is you're going to take the voiceover, and then you're going to go here, and you're going to paste it in, okay? You're going to pick your voice, and it has the same toggles, as you can see, as 11 Labs, because it's just effectively a bypass to get 11 Labs for cheaper. This is why it's beneficial. So you're going to hit Create Voice, okay? So we're going to create the voice, and we're going to let it load. So we'll just let that load right here. And so as this is doing its work, I want to just kind of compare the pricing, because again, my big thing, maybe it's because I'm a CPA, but maybe it's because I've just run profitable channels for a long time. I'm really just as concerned about the amount of money that the channel can make as in the cost of the actual production itself. So with 11 Labs, it costs $22 for 100,000 credits. And per 10 minutes, it's going to be about $2.20 to make a voiceover with 11 Labs. Whereas it's actually 1/10 of the price to use GenAI Pro. So every video that you make, the voiceover cost is 22 cents. Yeah, maybe if you're making 4 videos a month, that doesn't really matter that much. But if you're making a video per day, that starts to add up very fast. And why wouldn't you just want to spend less if you didn't have to? So here's what this sounds like.
Right now, you're probably sitting there thinking that to build a real income on YouTube, you need to set up a camera, buy fancy lights, and basically become a full-time video editor on top of your actual job.
Okay, now let's compare it to this.
Now, you're probably sitting there thinking that to build a real income on YouTube, you need to set up a camera, buy fancy lights, and basically become a full-time video editor on top of your actual job.
All right, so as you're seeing here, sounds the same, right? So same quality, 10th of the price, fantastic. So this tool is getting an S tier for me because again, if we can do something same quality, cheaper, that is a benefit. Now let's go to pixels. So you're gonna need a thumbnail for your video and it's gonna be able to create high quality thumbnails without you becoming a thumbnail design master. Now it is a little bit more expensive than say using ChatGPT for your thumbnails. It's gonna be about $40 per month, but I wanna show you its capabilities because I think it is pretty powerful. So let's go over to the tool. And I wanted to just show you how easy it is for you to make a thumbnail. And here's the thumbnail for this particular video. So all I needed to do was, in this particular case, recreate a thumbnail. So I just added in a link to a thumbnail design that was already on YouTube. And then I just got it to replace the person in it with me and then change the images to be more YouTube specific based on my prompt right here. Okay. So all you really need to do in this case, let's say we don't want to do this, make a split screen thumbnail of high and low YouTube views for my channel. Perfect. Okay, and so let's generate. And so we're gonna let the tool generate. Number one, I think this actually has one of the best UIs out of most of the YouTube tools. Just the color schemes to me are super cool. But it's gonna be able to make thumbnail designs for you in a matter of seconds. You don't have to be a thumbnail designer. I actually think it creates thumbnails faster than it has before, which is kind of cool. So I wanna show you just some different options that you can do with this tool because I think it's really powerful for creating your thumbnails if you have the budget to actually use it. And just to give you some ideas, I'm just using a picture of me here, but I didn't feed in this image here, right? So here you can create a thumbnail in a matter of seconds with this. And I just want to give you an example because it's going to actually analyze its own thumbnail. And then if we go, we're going to let it process. Actually, we can take a look here. It's going to tell you the virality score, the clarity score, the idea, the curiosity level, and you can hit one of these different items and it'll actually change the thumbnail for you based on what it thinks could be some improvements, right? Same thing you can do on this one as well. And then when you're happy with the thumbnail, you just download it. So again, the more prescriptive you are in the thumbnail design, the better. I personally think that the best and easiest way to use this is just see what's already working on YouTube and get it to recreate that design based on what you need for your video. That's usually what works best, at least in my personal experience. So this tool right here, we're giving it a B tier. You do need to kind of work through the prompts, but the video quality or the thumbnail design quality is rather good. Now let's talk about ChatGPT specifically for a couple different aspects of things. It's good for creating high quality AI images. It's good for title iterations, script writing, much better to use subscriber. Ideation, not very good because it's not pulling in topics and performance from YouTube. So what I want to show you is how easy it is to make a great design using ChatGPT. So let's say I'm running a channel and it's focused on travel. And I want to, here you could see, make me a thumbnail of a beautiful Swiss mountainside with the thumbnail text Unreal across the top in Montserrat font. Make the design dimensions 1280 by 720 or thumbnail design. So see how compelling this image is right here, if it opens. As you can see, this is a really attractive design. Now you can ask it to make the text larger, make it different color, so on and so forth. My recommendation personally when I'm using this is I actually just get the tool to create the image and then I just go into Canva and just pop on the text, because I do find that these AI tools sometimes have a hard time with text generation, placement, etc. But the hardest part for you is probably just getting the actual design itself, right? So this is how this typically ends up working. And this is how I'm using ChatGPT when I want to use it for thumbnail design. Now, if you want to learn how I made over 600K with just one faceless YouTube channel, watch this next video.